unexpected and dramatic development, a plane loaded with hundreds of deported migrants landed in Venezuela, triggering outrage and sparking serious questions about the escalating border crisis amid increasingly strict immigration measures worldwide. The difficult circumstances of these migrants have now become a central point in the heated discourse on immigration enforcement and human rights. This unprecedented deportation has torn families apart and led many to question the moral compass behind such actions. In this video, we unpack the details of this contentious incident, explore its broader consequences, and examine what it could mean for the future direction of immigration policy. Stay with us.
I want to tie in that story to our next story, and this is our segue here. Remember, one of the rationales from the Trump DOJ in dismissing the Eric Adams indictment was because it was infringing on Adams' ability there in the Big Apple to enact illegal immigration enforcement in the form of deportations. Let's go now from New York City to Venezuela. Take a look at this. This is breaking news right now. This is a live picture there on the tarmac at Venezuela's main international airport. And you are seeing now yet another deportation flight.
The global conversation around immigration has intensified as border crises continue to surface across the world. In a climate where migration is driven by armed conflict, economic inequality, and political unrest, countries have been compelled to reassess their immigration rules. Recently, the situation reached a critical new phase with the deportation of thousands of migrants, laying bare the tough realities of modern border enforcement. One particularly alarming event unfolded when an aircraft carrying deported individuals touched down in Venezuela, pushing the already strained immigration debate into the spotlight. This moment highlights the deepening divide between national security priorities and the protection of human rights, a gap that has never felt so stark. As deportations accelerate, the global community faces the challenge of reconciling policy decisions with ethical considerations and the heavy human toll they carry. The mass return of more than 100 migrants to Venezuela is seen as a troubling escalation in the border crisis. Though framed as standard enforcement, the details surrounding the flight have shocked observers worldwide. Many of those removed had lived for years in their host country, building lives and contributing to its economy. Now, forced out, often suddenly and without preparation, they must confront an uncertain future in a nation already crippled by economic and political instability. Sending such a large group back under these conditions raises profound ethical and humanitarian concerns and has sparked worldwide discussion about the limits and morality of immigration control.
Time for your morning headlines. The U.S. and Venezuela once again engaged in repatriation flights. So this is video received here in our newsroom a couple hours ago from Venezuela, where 200 people who were deported from the U.S. were then sent back home. American officials releasing a statement saying, quote, "These individuals had no legal basis to be here in the United States. The plane did make a brief stop in Honduras before it eventually got to Venezuela. Reports state the flight was done in a, quote, orderly and safe manner. These flights, though, put on hold in February. But now Venezuelans are demanding the return of immigrants the U.S. had flown to El Salvador to be imprisoned earlier this month."
Tax day is April 15th, but that's not the only reason the IRS is in the headlines today. They're getting closer to finalizing an information sharing agreement.
The passengers on the Venezuela-bound plane were predominantly from Central American nations, where poverty, political turmoil, and violence had driven them to seek safety and better prospects elsewhere. Over the years, many had managed to settle in more stable countries, though always under the looming fear of deportation. For some, the journey to safety had been long and perilous, crossing dangerous regions and enduring countless hardships, only to face expulsion in the end. Returning to Venezuela was, for many, like being sent into unfamiliar territory, even if it was technically their homeland. A number had fled years earlier to escape the very conditions now waiting for them. The deported men, women, and children are now confronted with the challenges of a collapsing state that struggles to provide even the most basic necessities. This large-scale deportation is not an isolated occurrence but part of a broader global shift toward aggressive immigration enforcement. In recent years, many governments have intensified their deportation efforts as a means of discouraging unlawful migration. In this particular case, U.S. immigration authorities carried out the operation, citing national security and the prevention of illegal entry. Supporters claim such actions deter future migration attempts, but critics, especially human rights advocates, argue these measures put control above compassion, ignoring the safety and dignity of those seeking refuge. This leaves an important question lingering. Is this strategy effective, or is it simply worsening the global migration crisis? The arrival of these deportees adds yet another complication to its deepening humanitarian emergency. The country, already crippled by economic collapse, political strife, and shortages of essential goods, must now absorb individuals arriving with little to no resources. Many of these returnees had been gone for years, and reintegration is almost impossible in a system already stretched far beyond its limits. Venezuela's crumbling infrastructure struggles to support its existing population, let alone handle a sudden influx of migrants. The consequences are felt in local communities as demands for housing, food, and healthcare rise sharply. For Venezuelans already grappling with instability, the return of deportees is a stark reminder of the nation's fragile condition and uncertain path ahead.
Right now, it seems like a roller coaster because of all the changes.
At the Brighton Park Neighborhood Council, they've helped new arrivals find a home in Chicago. With TPS, they say those same immigrants pay their rent, pay their taxes.
All of us that work and contribute to this country, we all get taxes deducted. Undocumented people, they also get taxes deducted, Social Security.
Now we're told the fear is overwhelming, that Immigration and Customs Enforcement could use details from federal applications to find applicants soon eligible for deportation.
Retaliation, coming and looking for them, knowing where they live, where they work.
It's not clear when TPS for Venezuelans will be terminated. Sabrina Franza, CBS News, Chicago.
The mass deportation of migrants to countries like Venezuela has ignited fierce humanitarian debate. Critics argue that forcing people back into unsafe, unstable environments violates fundamental human rights. While authorities often defend such actions as necessary for safeguarding borders, the moral questions remain unavoidable. For many of the deported, going back means facing the very dangers that once drove them to flee. In Venezuela's case, the risks are severe, with political unrest, widespread poverty, and high levels of violence creating a perilous environment. The heart of the debate lies in striking a balance between a nation's responsibility to protect its borders and its obligation to safeguard human life. Should governments put the security of their own citizens above all else? Or must they also weigh the life-threatening risks faced by those being sent back to countries unable to guarantee even the most basic conditions for survival?